So let's begin. So good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for webinar 3 of the Peace Webinars Initiative hosted by the Heartfulness Institute. Heartfulness Institute is a nonprofit organization with several million practitioners in 160 countries. Heartfulness relaxation and meditation techniques are studied and proven to be effective in reducing stress and anxiety, improving sleep, enhancing emotional intelligence, and exploring the heights and depths of human consciousness. We have explored peace as it pertains to physical well-being with the Ayurveda webinar, and as an outcome of meditation with the Heartfulness webinar. Today, we will explore peace as an outcome of an asana practice, and in particular, as a practice that can be ingrained from childhood with Yoga Sopanam. My name is Rupa Naidu. I am a heartfulness trainer, a yoga teacher, and a project manager. I have the pleasure today of speaking with Dr. Hetal Naik. She's an inspiration to me as a yoga practitioner and a teacher. Her discipline, her dedication to her students, and her ability to articulate yogic principles with conviction is one that is moving to not just me, but anyone who comes in contact with her. Dr. Hetal Naik is an anesthesiologist by training. Her current asana practice is Ashtanga Advanced B Series with her teacher, Philippa Asher. She is also training with the Ashtanga Yoga Guru, Sri Sharad Joyce from Mysore, and has been initiated on the path of Kriya Yoga by ordained Himalayan monk Swami Vidyadishananda. She is the director of OM Yoga Sadhana School at the OM Ashram, which serves to bring yoga into all aspects of life and to training quality yoga teachers who can carry on the mission of enhancing life through the practices of yoga. Her life's mission is popularizing structured, authentic lineage-based kids yoga program known as Yoga Sopanam, and raising awareness of health benefits of yoga amongst the healthcare providers through the Yoga Chikitsa program. She is the president of Seva International San Antonio chapter and lives in San Antonio with her husband, Dr. Devraj Naik, and 2 daughters. So hello, Dr. Hetal Naik, or Hetal Ji as I call you. It's such a pleasure to have you. And I have so many questions for you, but I'll let you just introduce yourself before we start.
Okay. Namaste, and my humble pranam to each of you who's present here. I will chant a simple Sanskrit verse and then we can get started. Gathering all your energy, putting all the distractions on the side, giving your one-pointed awareness to what is going on in front of you. Sit up nice and tall. The meaning of this verse is, may all the goodness and peace come from all the directions and descend upon you. Om Bhadram no Apivataya Manaha. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you to the Heartfulness Meditation volunteers, Rupa ji, Naveen ji, and the team for giving me this opportunity and giving me this time to share my path and hopefully inspire those who are present here.
Okay, Hetal Ji. I'd like to start off with one question that I never got to ask you before. I know you did get to meet Daaji in Austin in June when he was visiting. How was your meeting with Daaji, if you're okay to share that?
Sure. So I have read Daji's book. In fact, books that I have been given for the past 2 years by Naveen ji. And I have met several of the Heartfulness meditation volunteers and practitioners. And I've seen the joy in them, the dedication, and the transformation that meditation practice has brought in them. So already that Shraddha was built upon me even before I met Daji. And then I had traveled from San Antonio to Austin that morning early, and I got to meet him in the late afternoon. So throughout the day, I got to meet so many people from the heartfulness meditation and their stories of transformation and how all of this has touched their life and their family's life had already built the Shraddha in me before I met him. And so when I've met him, there was just joy that descended that would come from meeting any saintly person when you are in satsang, when you are in the company of truth. That's the joy I received from that meeting, and always that leaves you transformed. So that is what my experience was meeting Daji.
That's great to hear. Um, can you tell us how you started on the path of yoga? That is something that is of interest, I'm sure, to a lot of people, but I'm particularly curious.
So, I'm a physician, and health and well being was always my interest. And I went into medical school thinking that I will learn about health and well being. But this was 25 years back. And mostly we learn about sickness and dealing with sickness, and health and well being is not so much of a focus. I always wanted to pursue some kind of a healthy lifestyle. So I had tried jogging, elliptical, gym work, Pilates, all of that was there. I love food, and it was always hard for me to keep my weight off. So, all of these exercises did help me to some extent. But then my mother and father-in-law had started practicing yoga back in Bharat, and seeing the changes I was seeing in my mother-in-law, it inspired me to start reading about yoga. And so this was in 2008 that when I started reading about yoga, then I got connected to Hindu temple in San Antonio, Bal Vikas, and I was connected to one of the teachers that was by the temple. I started going there just to explore and see what my mother-in-law is experiencing through her practice and how it had healed her back. So when I went and started practicing yoga, this was something very different from any other activity I had done so far for my health and well-being. Seemingly it was a physical practice, seemingly it was an asana practice only, but what it started doing to my mind was the one that kept drawing me back to the class, which would be held every Sunday. So slowly my life started changing. All my Friday and Saturday socializing slowly was going away because I was prioritizing going to that Sunday morning class. And that experience is what was drawing me there. Of course, that is the asana practice that got me started in the yoga journey. But then something else happened after the 2 years. I decided to do a teacher training course, and my teacher was from Shivananda background. She's an Italian teacher, and she introduced me to Yoga Sutra and the philosophy of yoga. And when I started studying Yoga Sutra, nothing before had ever interested me in any subject that I was interested through the study of Yoga Sutra. If anybody has studied Yoga Sutra, you would know how profound it is. It understands the human mind like nobody else has ever understood human life. And such a systematic 8 path of yoga, the Ashtanga Yoga, which takes anybody who is keen on embarking on that journey very systematically to the goal of yoga, which is self-realization. So asana practice was through that class, then the teacher training course. And then, of course, I kept delving deeper and deeper for last 15 years. And the next step I took was to go to SVyasa for 5 years and do my bachelor's and master's courses in yoga. It's not that I was trying to earn a degree since I already had an MD degree, but I was trying to open the doors to this world of yoga, the ocean of yoga, which has so much to offer. So I wanted to know everything that's there, everything truth about ourselves. Such a blessing that human life. So that was the next step. It opened up even wider understanding of yoga. And then from there, I really wanted to now look for a moksha guru. And so I kept delving deeper, and I said, well, I've gone through organizations, institutes, but now I need a personal teacher. And so that's when I was blessed. When your student is ready, the teacher appears. That's said.
Mm-hmm.
And that has always been true for my own journey. Every time I have sincerely embarked on a step and I have gone deeper with sincere effort, the next level teacher has always appeared. And that's the blessing I have seen in my life. And so then I was introduced to my Guru Swami Vidyadishananda, and I took Diksha and went into the self-realization path or yeah. So so it has
That's
that progressive evolution that has kept me inspired to be on the path of
so
yoga.
I feel like the right question here is to talk about Om Ashram at the moment. Would you tell us about that before we dive into Yoga Sopanam? I'd like to know about the Om Ashram in San Antonio.
Yeah, so right in the back you see is the Om
Yeah.
Ashram. We live in front of Om Ashram. This is not a project that ever I had planned or we had planned, but there was a need in the community of Om School, which is a elementary education for kids based on Sanatan Dharma. So we have kids from age 2 to 5 that come, about 45 to 50 kids that come here full time. So the focus of Om Ashram is education, yoga, and spirituality. So, group of volunteers from Seva International and HSS Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangha had a vision to form the school, and me and my husband were blessed that we had something available. The space was there that we had for a long time back. So we decided to bring our gift that we can share with the world of yoga, and then also have a school so that we best use this community space to its full extent all 7 days a week. So we have school, we have yoga programs, we have a Gaushala, and we have a Patanjali Yoga Mandiram, which is the first Patanjali Yoga Mandiram of North America. And in fact, I think it's the only one, unless somebody else knows there is one anymore. So that's the Om Ashram. So the physical location was established about 2 years back, and
Mm-hmm.
it's been running since then. Before we were running our programs in rental space.
So it is starting from age 2, is that right? Did I
Yes.
hear that? And up to age,
So this is the first time we started kindergarten this year. So now
okay.
we have 5-year-old kids coming as well.
All right. So let's go into Yoga Sopanam in that case. What is Yoga Sopanam?
So yoga, we all know, is the union, and sopanam is the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
So I have been teaching yoga for last 15 years in the community. I had been teaching at the Hindu temple and then at a Bharatanatyam dance school to the girls there that came for dance. So I had been interacting with children for the last 15 years. And then I realized that if I don't have curriculum, if I don't have a roadmap, it was taking much longer for me to figure out how am I going to teach these children. Even a mundane subject like chemistry, math, English, all of this have a roadmap. All of these subjects have a curriculum. The discipline of martial arts, the discipline of Bharatanatyam, Sangeetam, everything has a curriculum. You go to a teacher, you learn for certain years to really evolve on that path. But there was no curriculum for children. There was no curriculum or roadmap or a structured program that existed in Bharat or in US. So from my studying the Mysore Ashtanga Yoga, which has a roadmap, I applied the same principle and said, can we create a curriculum for kids so that when they come to us for 10 years, we have given them complete understanding of what really this yoga is through the theory, but also the practices of yoga. The deepest or the most advanced asana practice, which is not a really physical practice, it's a very spiritual practice. I can talk about that later. Then pranayam practice from authentic lineage based Himalayan technique. Then the study of Yoga Sutra and Bhagavad Gita. So what we have done is created a 18 level kids yoga program. We take kids, we said we would take 8 and above, but now we have kids that are 4 and above that are coming. And I see that they're able to focus. So we have kids 4 and above. We have about 120 children that come regularly every Sunday to the ashram to practice. We enroll them in level 1. We give them structure and curriculum for 6 months. Then we take an assessment exam just so that they sincerely study their curriculum and then maybe place them appropriately in the next level. Sometimes kids progress very quickly, so sometimes we skip a level and place them in their appropriate level so that they can evolve at their own pace. But it really also focuses on lifestyle. Yoga is a lifestyle. We really bring this discipline of ahar, vihar, achar, vichar, food, sleep, code of conduct. All of the principles of yoga are there in that Yoga Sopanam program.
So how many hours do they spend when they come to a Sunday program?
So our class starts at 9 and they are done by 10:45. So 1 hour, 45 minutes. The structure is such that we meet in the veranda. We start with Patanjali Yoga Sutra chanting.
Mhm.
Then we talk about some Yoga Sutra or some stories from Upanishad or Mahabharata, Ramayana. And then the kids go to their respective classes. All of our classes are taught by our own trained teenagers and youth. So we have currently 14 teenagers and youth that are teachers for this Yoga Sopanam. So each level has 2 teachers. So they all go into their respective spaces and then they practice for 1 hour, 15 minutes. Then we again gather back in the Yoga Mandiram. We chant Bhagavad Gita verses and then we chant Bhagavad Gita Aarti and then we conclude. And the kids also get to feed the cows and see the cows and spend some time with the cows. That's the structure currently that we have.
So you have 14 youth teachers. How many graduates do you have from are they all Yoga Sopanam graduates?
So yes, so what we have done is when they reach level 7, or if they are 13 years old, then they are eligible to be part of our yoga immersion program that we hold every summer, which is 200 hours teacher training. Once they go through that 200 hours teacher training, then they're eligible to become a teacher. But the condition is that they must have their own regular yoga practice. So they must continue to attend our weekly classes. They must continue to chant the Yoga Sutras and understand the philosophy. They are also our interns. We give them opportunity to do research. We have 2 research mentors who are from the university here and they are guiding us. They are involved with NIH research and have done a lot of publications. So those 2 mentors are guiding all of our 14 interns. Not all of them have a research topic assigned, but when they're seniors, then we are senior teachers, then we assign them a research topic. So yes, the youth are the teachers.
So Yoga Sopanam could be, there are questions that are popping up already. We usually save the questions for later, but I wanted to address a few of them because they're relevant to Yoga Sopanam. One of them is there a age limit? It was actually a question, is age 30 too late to go for the Yoga Sopanam program?
So no, and I myself started my yoga journey when I was 38 and I'm 50 now. So not 30, yeah, 30, 36 maybe, I forget, but it's
Yeah.
been 15 years.
Mhm.
So no, 30 is of course not late, but what we have done is kids learn differently and adults learn differently. So what we have done is for adults, we have a program called as Yoga Sadhana. So we have Yoga Sadhana level 1, Yoga Sadhana level 2. But basically, we are creating a roadmap to bring them to the Ashtanga Yoga of Mysore.
Okay. So it's called Yoga Sadhana. When they join, they'll join a Yoga Sadhana program. Okay.
Yes.
Um, Also, there was a question whether there was an influence of any other organizations practice like Chinmaya Mission or the way they do their Sunday programs, or there's a lot of different Vedic heritage programs that other organizations run. Is there any influence of that on Yoga Sopanam? Have you been influenced in any way when you design Yoga Sopanam?
Well, subtly, maybe yes. Of course, I've been part of Hindu Temple Bal Vikas program. I was a coordinator there for 10 years. Then I also am a volunteer of Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangha, which also meets weekly.
Mhm.
And so a lot of structure and discipline and inspiration came from HSS and Seva International. Um, and then main inspiration was from the Ashtanga Yoga of Mysore. But I
Ah,
also have I've been in a constant study of the Vedanta and Sankhya. So those gurus of those lineages have also been an influence and inspiration behind the Yoga Sopanam.
So now that we've talked about Yoga Sopanam quite a bit, I wanted to delve into you as a doctor, your background as a doctor, and how that has influenced how you teach yoga, in particular the Yoga Chikitsa program. That was also something that I read on your website. What is that program?
So Yoga Chikitsa is yoga therapy.
Mm,
Now, there are several aspects to this program. It's still in its preliminary stage. It's not as developed as our Yoga Sopanam program. There are two aspects to it. One is writing books and doing research. So
mm,
what we have done is we have connected to the Ashtanga Yoga practitioners worldwide
mm,
who are physicians in different specialities, right? So all of the research, if you see mainly in yoga, is done by researchers not necessarily who are yoga sadhak of long time. They
mm.
might be scientists, but not necessarily have got delved deep into the yoga practice. So our understanding in this was that let these books be written by yoga practitioners of Ashtanga Yoga who understand the practice thoroughly. So what we have done is we have doctors from different specialities like a cardiologist, immunologist, gastroenterologist, and they're each writing a chapter on Ashtanga Yoga for as a yoga therapy for different ailments.
Mhm.
Okay, so that is one aspect of Yoga Chikitsa. The other aspect of Yoga Chikitsa is hosting workshops for doctors, giving them the retreats and giving them the experience of yoga. And when they experience and see the effect of yoga, they are likely to bring them into their own lives and then eventually integrate into their own practices so that it has a domino effect. If one doctor can experience yoga and can become an advocate or an ambassador of yoga, it can change thousands of lives. So that is the understanding behind sharing this knowledge of yoga with the doctors. So this coming March, we will be hosting a yoga retreat at the ashram for the physicians. And it will be a Friday evening, Saturday and Sunday program where we'll be giving them a little taste of science of yoga by hosting talks on understanding how yoga works through their understanding of science, and then giving them the experience of asana, pranayam, and meditation, barefoot walking, sattvic food that is cooked by our volunteers at the ashram, giving them the ambience of the ashram. So it is going to be an experiential retreat that we will be hosting annually for the physicians. So these are the two different aspects of Yoga Chikitsa.
Okay. There is a question about Ashtanga Yoga, but I'm going to ask you a completely, a question that I prepared. Let's continue with that. I heard you say a lot about seva, so I wanted you to speak about this role of service that plays in your life. You do mention seva a lot, and you do mention Hindu Swam Sevak Sangh. So, what is the role of service in your life?
While my guru always says, Seva Dharmo Parama Dharma, Yogina api agamya. Even the highest yogi cannot reach to the place where a sevak can reach, where a person who is involved in seva can reach. So eventually, all of these practices should make us a human being who is simply an instrument of God.
Mm.
We all are born with our own unique talents. We all have a purpose of life. And when you do these deeper practices of yoga, your purpose of life is revealed to you. So I have a responsibility of president of Seva International. Seva International has several chapters throughout the United States. We serve our local communities and we also give back to Bharat. These are the two different dimensions to this organization. Locally, this chapter was started mainly to serve as a platform to bring yoga to the underserved community in San Antonio. So we call that program as I Do Yoga, which stands for International Day of Yoga. For last 10 years, we have been using this platform, uniting the mainstream, all of the yoga practitioners, and that's how I was connected to Heartfulness as well.
Yes.
Bring all the yoga as practitioners and organizations together and share this joy of yoga. Not one style, not one organization, but yoga has so much to offer depending on our own temperament, and all is super good. So, understanding is that yoga sometimes is being so commercialized in today's world may not be accessible to all. So, what we do through this platform is through our fundraising, we uh, generate funds and support local nonprofit yoga organizations that bring free yoga into schools and underserved communities. So currently we have been supporting for last 10 years Yoga Day, which brings free yoga in 50 different schools in underserved areas of San Antonio. And then we also host a class in the downtown. We host free classes in community centers, in senior centers and parks, so more than 100 classes. Then we also have sponsored a child program where we support education back in Bharat. We have another flagship program called as Family Services, through which we serve families in distress because they have specific cultural need. They come from Bharat. So, example, if there is a patient in the hospital and we need to provide food, if there is a death in the Hindu community, then going and supporting the family and doing funeral services. These are some of the aspects. So we have a Seva chapter here, and these are some of the activities that we do.
So it sounds like you have a really busy life, and there's a question related to that as well. And I had a question for you as well related to that. So I'll combine the two. How do you manage your work-life balance? Or the way I positioned this question was, how do you find joy in your life?
Well, my teacher, Swami Vidyadhishananda, he's the president of 10 organizations. And he's always joyful, never tired, and has time for each one of us, though he has thousands of followers everywhere. You know Daji, and he's the same. And you know all the love and joy he shares, right, with each one of you, as if you are the only one in his life.
Yeah,
So, when you are in that flow, when you are connected with the purpose of your life, where then there is no work, it's only joy. Everything is just joy. So,
correct.
there is no differentiate between work and family or anything. Family, well, of course, seva starts at home. So, I'm always very blessed to be surrounded. My two daughters, husband, my father-in-law, mother-in-law, everybody lives, we all live together, and I love to be spending quality time with them. I have not watched TV in 15 years. I have not watched movie in 15 years, but I love to do cooking with them, just going on a simple walk or just sitting down, connecting heart to heart, talking which is meaningful to them. And our own children, both the girls, have done our own yoga teacher training course 4 times with us. We have
Yeah,
always told them you don't need to repeat it, but it's something that draws them there. It's
yeah,
the joy that draws them there. So just when you are connected with yourself, when you are connected with your own inner core, you connect with everybody else so well. So it's everything joyful. And then you keep extending that family, that circle of
yeah,
influence keeps increasing. And so the whole world becomes your family. So
right.
I think for me, it's never a stress. In fact, I always find more time and I'm like, God, please make me the best instrument of service because I don't have anything else to do in life. I just want to give because I got so much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So with what you've just shared, I want to take this time. It's going to be just a 5-minute prayer, 5 to 8 minutes. I want to do a peace intention prayer. So we'll do it. And then as there are more Q&A, there are some myths, yoga myths that I wanted to have you answer to those, those yoga common myths that we hear. So before that, we'll do a short a peace prayer. This will be about 5 to 8 minutes. And meanwhile, and when we come back, we'll do a Q&A and we'll also do the yoga myths. So everyone that's joined, thank you. But we'll just take this quick time to do a peace prayer. So close your eyes. Just relax your body. Wherever you're sitting, just observe and notice how your body connects to the earth. Feel the energy from Mother Earth through your feet as it moves upward through your legs, all the way to the hips. This is a healing and soothing energy. This energy moves upward through your lower back, middle back, and upper back. And also through the front of your body. Let that energy flow upwards to your stomach, waist, chest, and shoulders, and then through the arms, all the way to the fingertips. Feel your body completely relax. Let go of any tension or stress that you feel in your body. Take a deep breath and feel that energy move upward through your neck, through the jaws, the face, your temples, forehead, top of the head, and back of the head. The soothing and healing energy relaxes your body as you start to feel completely relaxed. Bring your attention to your heart, which is the source of wisdom, the source of peace and wellness within your body. Tune into that source and stay connected for the next couple of minutes until I say that's all. That's all. Keep your eyes closed. Tune into peace within your heart. Let that peace radiate to everything and everyone around you. Let that peace encircle the earth. As you open your eyes, notice how peace is reflected back onto you in everything that you do. Gently open your eyes. So that was just a quick heartfulness relaxation, and we ended it with a peace prayer. We're going to go back to our Q&A, but before that, I have a few yoga myths, and this is going to be purely for fun, or maybe informational as well, because a lot of people um, will say these things, and yoga teachers do want to say something, but we just keep quiet when we hear these things when we're out. So this is a chance for you, Hetalji, to see, if somebody said yoga is hard to start doing, what would you say?
Well, depends on what you are pursuing. Yes, if it's a physical practice and you've never done it,
Mm-hmm.
it might seem hard, but there's always a simple asana that you can start from. The only secret in yoga is repetition. Consistent practice leads to persistent practice. So, yoga is not hard, it just needs consistency.
Related to that, there's another myth that you have to go to a studio to do yoga.
This is a very complicated question, Rupaji, but I'll tell you, I
Mm.
really feel that in the modern day, a lot of people are lost because they go to random places to learn yoga.
Mm-hmm.
Yoga has to be learned in a very methodical, structural
Mm.
way. But provided they're taking that as a spiritual practice. If it's only for health and well-being,
Yes.
then it can be learned, not necessarily only from studios, several different venues to learn yoga.
And the third one, I don't know. It's even a tough one to say because yoga can be taught by anybody. That is a common thought nowadays. What would you say to that?
Well, I don't want to discourage anybody from teaching yoga because even a little bit of that can bring a lot of health and well-being.
Mm.
But we must understand that there are spectrum of teachers.
Yes.
Not to ever put all the yoga teachers into one bucket or one category, because one might be a kindergarten teacher for a beginner, which is fine. You can learn from that teacher. And but also to know that there is a whole spectrum. And then
Mm.
there is your moksha guru or sadguru, who is a realized master.
Yeah.
A teacher can take you only as far as where the teacher has gone till, right?
Mm-hmm.
Only till where the teacher has traveled the path.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you understand that, then yes, fine, you can learn yoga, you can start somewhere, but keep pursuing and the right teacher will appear.
The next one is um, I will be judged in class if I am new. So somebody who goes new to a class, this is their common worry is that they will be judged in class. What would you say to that?
Not at all. Everybody is doing their own practice. And in fact, yoga is all about being non judgmental. Even if they are, then it's not
That's
sure
true.
to
That's
let
true.
your to worry. But yes, let that not be the thing to prevent you from going and learning from a
Yeah,
space. So put that on the side because it's your own opportunity to evolve. So let that not be a roadblock on your journey.
right. So there are so many different styles of yoga. So props are discouraged in yoga. Is that a common across all the practices, or is that only in some practices?
Not at all. Props should be used. In fact, they're very good discovery because it slowly helps you in building flexibility and strength. So of props are absolutely can be used. Even though I come from Ashtanga background and
Yes, that's
in
why I
our
was.
practice we don't use props
Yeah, there's
ever.
no
But
props.
I've also learned from I've been in the Iyengar method for 2 years, and
Okay,
had I not had Iyengar background, I would have got overwhelmed by seeing an Ashtanga practice. So it
correct.
gave
Yeah.
me an opportunity to build myself and bring myself to the Ashtanga practice. So props can be, of course, encouraged and used, and I still use it after 15 years for my advanced asanas.
So, so we are talking so much about yoga right now, and there's an understanding that some yoga poses are better than others. Is that true?
Well, it's a whole spectrum, right? You know that
Mm.
in Ashtanga there is
Yeah.
primary series, second series, advanced A, B, C, D.
Mhm.
So not so one is better, one does some thing to
Yeah.
you, and then other one does something. We have 84,000 or 8.4 million asanas. So many asanas. They all have their own advantages. So
Mhm.
all are necessary. A well-rounded asana practice is a must. You should do it methodically. Not one is better than the other.
Yeah, okay. All right. Some more questions. one other understanding is that you need to be thin and flexible to do yoga. What would you say to this?
I was neither of the two. So I had a very hard time. I've worked very hard for my flexibility. And like I said in the beginning, I had a hard time keeping weight off with all other means of exercises.
Yeah,
And this is the only method that has changed my metabolism. And I have lost 30 pounds in last few years. And
yeah,
I can eat so much and not put on weight because it really changes your metabolism. So it's not necessary. There is no, my teacher says yoga is for everybody except for lazy person. Yes.
yeah. That's right. So I have exhausted all the myths right now. We'll go back to the Q&A. And there was one question because we're talking so much, because your practice is Ashtanga Yoga. What is the difference between Ashtanga Yoga and Hatha Yoga? And actually, the question is, if I read it exactly as it's written, what is the difference between normal yoga like Hatha Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga and breathing exercises?
Okay. So Hatha Yoga, it's not it's Hatha, it's
Hatha.
Hatha Yoga. So Hatha Yoga is all the practices on the first five limbs of yoga, the yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, and pratyahar. Mainly asan, pranayam, bandhas, and mudras. They come under Hatha Yoga. So Ashtanga Yoga, when I say Ashtanga Yoga, I mean Ashtanga Yoga of Mysore. Of
Mm,
course, Ashtanga Yoga is 8 limbs yoga, which is part of Patanjali's Yoga Sutra
mhm,
philosophy. But in the West and now in the common yoga community, Ashtanga Yoga means Ashtanga Yoga of Mysore.
mhm,
So Ashtanga Yoga of Mysore is a very methodical practice where there is a curriculum in primary series. This is the sequence you follow. You do the same asana in the same order for the same amount of breath. And you don't take the next asana unless you have some proficiency in the previous asana.
mhm.
And that is so that you can safely learn your asana practice. It's a
Right.
perfect combination of forward bend, back bend, twisting, inversion, and core strength.
Mm,
So it's a very all-rounded practice, really, even if you take it only at a physical level. But
mhm,
really, it's a spiritual practice. The first series of yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, is called Yoga Chikitsa. So
mm,
whenever you come with any imbalances to it, it removes all your imbalances or changes your physiology and takes all the
mhm,
ailments out. Second series is called Nadi Shodhan. It
mm,
goes deeper into your energy channels, and
mhm,
a lot of back bends are there.
mhm.
And then the whole of the advanced ABCD is called Sthira Bhaga, sublime divinity. It makes you absolutely grounded in your mind, and your intellect becomes very sharp, and you have a very sharp discerning ability. So it works from the gross to the subtle level.
Mm.
That's the Ashtanga method of 6 series of Ashtanga. And each series takes about 3 to 5 years to master.
Okay, okay. That's what I was
Your
going to ask
daily 2 hours of practice,
you. Daily
six
2 hours
days a
of
week.
practice. Yeah.
Yes.
So I know you do go, do you go every year to Mysore to practice with the Sharatji in Mysore with for the Ashtanga?
Yes, this would be my third time going, and I've gone past 2 years for 2 months each. And then when Sharaji travels to US, I go and attend his workshops in US as well.
Yes. Has he ever
And again,
visited
one
San?
point I forgot to tell about Ashtanga Yoga, but it's a three-sthana method. There is breathing, drishti, and asana. So as you do asana, you're already doing pranayama. You're
Mm,
doing ujjayi breath for 90 minutes.
right,
And
right.
drishti is you're focusing at particular points. So you're already doing meditation. So
Mm,
it's a moving meditation. It's a myth that meditation can only be done sitting. In
mm,
today's sedentary lifestyle, if you do have a structured vinyasa practice of breath and movement, movement
mm.
led by breath, then it can absolutely calm your mind and bring that clarity. So Ashtanga Yoga is a moving meditation. Sorry, and then I'll come back to the second question.
Yeah. Has the Sharatji visited San Antonio with OM Ashram? That was my question.
Sharadji is visiting this November. He's
Oh,
doing
that
a
was
workshop in San Antonio.
I
And
have not seen any information on this. Is this a closed program to a set
no,
group
no,
of
no,
people?
it's open for everybody and
Open?
it's open for beginners. You'd have to be of no experience needed. When he comes to a city for the first time, he
Yeah,
hosts only primary series classes. So
I
we
see.
will be having only lead primary and it's open for all levels.
Right. I would
And
love to
there'll
know.
be more than 300 practitioners
Yeah, I'm sure.
from across the country and from different countries as well. So it would
Yeah.
be a very inspirational week if anybody wants to experience.
Which week
Go
is
to
this?
funny Sharad Joyce. You can Google Sharad Joyce US tour.
Tour. Okay. Okay. There is a question. I kind of, I've understood advanced A, B, C, D, and so on. I think the question is how, amongst the difficult practices, I know the Ashtanga Yoga is one of the most diligent. What are the words you would use to describe Ashtanga? I don't want to call it difficult because that is the word that's been used. What is the level of difficulty? But I think different words to describe Ashtanga Yoga, what would they be?
The three sthana again. It's the
Yeah.
breath, the movement, and drishti.
Mm.
Four qualities my teacher says you require to be on Ashtanga Yoga:
Yeah.
dedication,
Mm.
devotion,
Mhm.
discipline,
Mhm.
and determination. Four
Okay.
Ds. You need all four Ds. When it gets tough, it's good to be in a group because the group keeps you inspired. The like-minded people, the satsang keeps you inspired, right? Yes, it is difficult, but if I can do it, I had no strength and flexibility.
Yeah.
I worked really hard and I started at an older age. So if you are really determined, you can do it. Practice, 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 and all is coming. That's what Bhagavad
Yeah, that's true.
Gita.
So I'll ask some questions that are coming in. How does yoga help with inner peace is one question.
Yoga first removes the impurities of the body, then it removes the impurities of mind. We have yam and niyam. Yam is five things, five principles you use when you interact with the outer world. Niyam is five daily practices that you do for your self growth. When you constantly do these yam and niyam and asana, it removes the impurities of your body and impurities of the mind. What are the impurities of mind? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, Mada, and Matsarya. Greed, anger, selfish desires, jealousy, laziness, and delusion. These are the six impurities of your mind. With this asana practice, which opens the spiritual centers, and the breath that opens the spiritual centers, these impurities of your mind are removed. When the mind becomes pure, the mind goes at its is restful. It's at peace. It is going to your intellect. Now the mind is not wavering. It is not having these vrittis of up and down, happiness at one point, depression at the other point, anxiety at one point. All those turbulences are removed by removal of impurities. And
Mm.
really, it's the breath which is the secret of yoga. Because when the breath calms down, the mind calms down. A jumping mind or a monkey mind can never be a peaceful mind. So, using the tool of breath, yoga helps you calm down the mind. So,
Mm.
there are two words, Nishchal and Nirmal. The mind becomes pure and the mind becomes steady.
Mm.
It's a lake of the mind. The water becomes less turbulent and the water becomes pure so that you can see your own reflection of who you are. Then you abide in your true self. You
Yeah.
don't take identities and get tangled in the identities that you have taken as a role in your life. Yeah.
So thank you so much. I like to end on this note with yoga and inner peace, and I think you explained it with so much detail, and I can tell, how deeply you really understand and live these principles. there has been so much interest in this webinar in particular. Even those who could not attend will be waiting for the recording. So I really thank you for your time, Hetal ji. This has been a very insightful webinar for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of people that have dialed in today. There are a few more questions, but I think we should wrap up and just what is the best way to reach you if anyone wants to reach out to you? What would be the best way for them to reach out?
Can I type my email, or you can share my email address with them?
Mm-hmm.
I can put my email address here and my phone number, and you can
Okay.
feel free to
Is it the
share.
same email that I usually reach out to you?
Yes, Rupaji.
Devraj_Naik
Yes.
at
I put it in
yahoo.com.
the chat box, devraj_naik at yahoo.com. Also, omashram.org. If you go on the website, if you forget, I'll type the Om
Okay.
Ashram
Mm-hmm.
.org. There
Okay.
are, you can send an email. There is also a lot of resources there with the practices of yoga. And
Okay.
then I'll type my phone number. Feel free to reach out by any of these means. And all of our yoga programs at the ashram, except the summer immersion, are for no cost. All our weekly classes are for no cost. And our programs are hybrid. People can join online as well.
Okay. That's wonderful. I will now wrap up this webinar with a quick information slide on how people can find out more even about heartfulness. Um, can everyone see this? So there is a option to start meditation with a personal trainer. Heartfulness can be practiced one-on-one with a trainer over this weekend if you are interested. That we will share this. We will share a link to how you can connect with a personal trainer for meditation in the Zoom uh, email that is sent out after this session. So this is something that Heartfulness has put together, and it's continuing week after week. It's called the Meditate with the Personal Trainer. And then the next webinar is going to be the one that we have with Uma Mullapudi, who's a heartfulness meditation trainer and very loved by the community. This session will be on Thursday at 7 p.m., and we'd love for everyone to join. That will be our ending slide, really. I want to thank Hetal ji again, and as everyone heard, you can reach out to her at Devraj, DEVRAJ_NAYAK at yahoo.com if you have any information that you'd like to reach out to her, and also we'll send out the this information in the email that is sent out at the end of this session. So thank you everyone for joining. It's been a pleasure, Hetalji.
Thank you, Rupaji, for giving this opportunity. Dhanyavad.